The other day, we had some friends over for dinner. After a few bottles, one thing led to another, we found ourselves butter basting a bavette on the stove, smoking up the whole room. And of course, given our mental state, we overcooked the bavette slightly. But my missus claimed that it was the best bavette she's ever had. And I agree with her, because it had a very crispy crust on the outside, and the inside is actually slightly more forgiving than people give bavette credit for. Got me thinking. Even in my own recipes, the bavette never got a perfect sear, and it's precisely because I was solving so much for the doneness, ignoring the fact that bavette naturally has a very large surface area for searing and browning, given that it's uneven. So today, we're gonna solve for the crust, try not to overcook it. We'll garnish it with a mushroom butter sauce, just like the other day. So, first things first, we make the butter infusion. Generous amount, salted butter, so we don't even need to season. Thyme and mushroom, always good pairing. Some crushed garlic. Now, we just bring this to medium heat and let the flavors infuse. Now, the bavette. You want to pat this dry as much as possible because surface area, not temperature, is the #1 enemy to good browning, good Maillard reaction. And since we're going to shallow fry it today, I'm going to score it to get us even more real estate for browning. And I'm scoring against the grain. Beautiful. Same with the other side. Brilliant. We season very generously with salt. Now we can cook. So, very hot pan. The butter smells amazing. A very generous amount of vegetable oil. Now you can see the oil shimmering. So, bavette goes in. Sound, and you want to lay it away from you. The splashing that you're hearing, that's the moisture evaporating, escaping. Only when the surface moisture are gone that the steak gets to brown. Protein with high heat, Maillard reaction, giving us the crispy surface and meaty flavors. Beautiful crust forming already. Beautiful, now we cook the other side. With the hot oil, we're going to baste it to make sure everything is golden. Now, we probe. As you can see, even with this crust, because we're shallow frying, we're still not even at medium rare, but we're very close. Look at this color. It almost looks like duck breast at this point. And that's it. Stove off. The beautiful steak comes out resting directly on the serving plate. This will also keep the plate warm. All those burnt bits, the sticky bits, the flavors, we're gonna mop them up with our wild mushrooms. But first and foremost, we drain off some of the excess fat. Because remember, we're gonna add the butter. So literally, we're keeping one thin layer, just enough to coat the pan. Stove back on, and we add the mushroom to test the water. King oyster takes the longest, but you can use a selection of any kind of mushroom, it doesn't really matter, just to impart some flavor and to mop up the fond. Because of the salted butter, we're not going to salt now. Perfect. And we slowly introduce the other mushrooms. And the mushrooms would release their moisture, and that would in turn deglass the pan, mopping up all those wonderful flavors. Beautiful. Perfect. Add more mushrooms. These don't need much time to cook. Beautiful. You can see the water content of the mushroom evaporating, concentrating their flavors, and also mopping up the fond, the burn bits, full of meaty goodness. Now, just to make sure we're taking everything, we're going to add a small dash of water just to deglass the pan a bit more. You can use wine as well if you fancy. And scrape the bottom, all the beautiful flavors. Beautiful. Now, we start to slowly introduce our extremely flavorsome butter. All the flavors from the thyme, from the garlic. And of course, the garlic by this point, they're very tasty, so they also go in. And we just let the flavors emulsify. Amazing. Now you taste to adjust the seasoning because of the salted butter. And black pepper also always goes well. Once you can barely see the butter, that's when you know you're ready. So stove off, and we can carve and plate. Can you hear the crust? That's what we want from the bavette. So now, we find the direction of the grain and we go at a bias. Perfectly cooked. Oh, beautiful. The scoring and the shallow frying really makes a difference, and I recommend you at least try this once. Amazing. Wow. I mean, look at that. It's beautiful. Now, very generous amount of wild mushrooms. Top, sides. Beautiful butter. And just a bit of Michael coriander, optional, for some brightness, especially because of the butter. And that's it. In my opinion, the better way to cook bavette than just regular pan-searing. This is crispy bavette with wild mushrooms. I really hope you enjoy. A glass of wine. A wrap on my lunch.